Have you ever wondered if angels truly spoke to mankind? Not in metaphors, not in dreams, but in an actual language, a sacred alphabet, whispered into the ears of prophets and scribes, meant to unlock the secrets of the heavens? There is an ancient legend that says, the divine did not only create the heavens and the earth, he created the words that command them. And somewhere, hidden within forgotten scrolls, forbidden grimoires, and encrypted symbols, lies a language too powerful for ordinary minds, yet whispered to those who dared to listen. The language of angels. This is not just mythology. This is the story of Enoch, the man who walked with God and became the archangel Metatron. This is the story of John Dee, who claimed angels dictated a language to him. This is the code behind the 72 names of God, the Enochian alphabet, and celestial symbols that some believe can alter reality. In this video, we are not merely talking about religion or history. We are decoding the divine interface between the mortal and the eternal. So stay with me, because what you're about to hear may reshape the way you see angels, prayer, and even the voice of God himself. Imagine a man so pure, so close to the divine, that he never tasted death. His name was Enoch, and according to ancient texts, he walked with God, and then was no more, for God took him. But that's not where his story ends. In fact, that's where it begins. Buried deep in apocryphal writings, the Book of Enoch reveals secrets so staggering that it was excluded from most versions of the Bible. The church called it dangerous. The scholars called it heretical. But mystics? They called it a map to the divine realm. In this mysterious book, Enoch describes visions of heavenly realms, meetings with angelic beings called the Watchers, and the transmission of forbidden knowledge, truths about creation, the stars, and the language spoken by angels themselves. One of the most controversial revelations is this. Angels once descended to earth and shared divine knowledge with mankind, including sacred names, signs, and symbols. It's no wonder the book was suppressed for centuries. The implications were too immense. If humans could access this knowledge, what else could they awaken? Enoch's journey did not end as a prophet. According to mystical traditions, he was transformed into the archangel Metatron, the only being allowed to sit beside the throne of God. He became the heavenly scribe, the one who records all that happens, both on earth and in heaven. But here's where it gets even more mysterious. Many believe that Enoch didn't just receive knowledge, he encoded it in symbols, words, and a language lost to time, waiting to be rediscovered. This is where our descent begins, not into darkness, but into hidden light. Because if the Book of Enoch is true, then the knowledge of angels, the language of the divine, and the keys to unlocking higher dimensions may have been in front of us all along. You've heard of ancient texts being sacred. But what if one of them was actually a divine instruction manual? In the 16th century, two men stood at the edge of the known world, not explorers of land, but of heaven. Dr. John Dee, astrologer and advisor to Queen Elizabeth I, and his scryer, Edward Kelly, weren't searching for gold or power. They were seeking direct communication with angels. And they claimed they succeeded. Through a series of spiritual seances, using black obsidian mirrors and polished crystal balls, Kelly entered trances and reported hearing otherworldly voices. What he transcribed would become one of the most controversial and mysterious languages ever recorded, the Enochian alphabet. But this wasn't just a set of symbols. It was a full linguistic system, complete with grammar, syntax, phonetics, and even its own angelic dictionary. They said the angels called it the language of Adam, the tongue spoken before the fall, the original voice of creation. And more than that, it was believed to hold the true names of God. The Enochian letters are not simple shapes. Each one vibrates with cosmic resonance, each sound echoing through unseen realms. Dee and Kelly were told that when these letters are spoken in precise ways, doors between dimensions could open. This was not symbolic. They believed these rituals could summon angels, or even command them. Over time, this knowledge spread quietly. Secret societies like the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, Thelema, and other occult circles began using Enochian calls in their ceremonies, claiming they allowed access to divine forces beyond human comprehension. But here's what most people never hear. The Enochian alphabet wasn't just meant to be studied. It was meant to be spoken. According to Dee's own records, the angels warned. When the true vibrations are uttered, the heavens respond. What does that mean? Some believe this language doesn't just communicate with angels, it alters the energetic fabric of reality. It realigns the speaker with divine order, bringing light into chaos, clarity into confusion, purpose into pain. And here's the chilling part. The original Enochian tables include sigils, angelic hierarchies, and gateways that align with the directions of space and even elements of the tree of life in Kabbalah. Was this a coincidence? Or was this the hidden language of the divine blueprint? Modern linguistic experts still can't fully decode how Dee and Kelly could have invented such a complex system with no precedent. Many suspect they didn't. Whether you believe in the supernatural or not, the Enochian alphabet remains a mystery that resists explanation, an alien tongue delivered by shimmering beings from a realm beyond our comprehension. And it may only be the first piece of the puzzle. Long before the invention of modern science, mystics believed that the universe wasn't built with atoms or molecules. It was built with names, divine frequencies, each one carrying an intention, a vibration, a purpose. Among the most powerful of these sacred formulas are the 72 names of God. But here's the secret no one tells you. These aren't names in the traditional sense. They're not meant to be spoken like titles. They are codes, spiritual equations embedded within the Hebrew Torah, discovered in a miraculous pattern buried deep in the book of Exodus. It all begins with 3 verses, Exodus 14:19, 14:20, and 14:21. Each of these verses contains exactly 72 Hebrew letters. Kabbalists, using an ancient encryption technique, stacked the verses together and drew out 72 3-letter combinations. These combinations became known as the Shem HaMephoresh, the explicit name of God. But what makes them so sacred? Each 3-letter sequence is believed to represent a specific divine force, a kind of angelic software that can be run through prayer, meditation, or visual focus. Some names are used for healing, others for protection, abundance, clarity, or even spiritual awakening. For example, the name Aleph Lamed Dalet is believed to ward off negative energies and protect from evil. Samach Aleph Lamed is said to attract prosperity and blessings. And Mem Heshen is connected to miraculous healing. Mystics claim that when meditated upon correctly, the energy of these names begins to restructure your soul, realigning it with the divine matrix, what some call the tree of life, and others, the blueprint of creation. But there's more. According to Kabbalistic tradition, each of these 72 names is also connected to an angel, creating a celestial hierarchy of 72 guardian forces, each with its own mission and spiritual signature. This is where the mystery deepens. Some texts claim that the Enochian system and the 72 names of God are secretly connected, like 2 halves of a single divine language, split across cultures and time. And here's the most astonishing part. Some rabbis and mystics whisper that the true pronunciation of these names has been lost. Not because it was forgotten, but because it was hidden on purpose. Why? Because spoken with knowledge, they say, these names could bend the rules of reality. Among the celestial host, one name stands out, not just for its power, but for its mystery. Metatron. Unlike other angels, Metatron is said to have once been a man, the prophet Enoch, who walked so closely with God that he was transformed, not by death, but by divine ascension. In Jewish mysticism, Metatron is not just another angel. He is the scribe of heaven, the one who records all thoughts, actions, and intentions in the book of life. He is the keeper of secrets, the channel between the divine and the mortal, and the guardian of the celestial codes. But what makes Metatron so different? He is described as sitting on a throne beside God, a privilege no other angel is granted. In the Talmud, even the archangel Michael trembles before him. It is said that Metatron speaks with God's voice, delivering commands to lesser angels and acting as a mediator between worlds. Some texts claim that when the divine needed to create a system of spiritual order, it entrusted that system to Metatron, who encoded the divine will into symbols, numbers, and sacred geometry. This brings us to one of the most powerful and mysterious symbols in metaphysical tradition: the Metatron's cube. At first glance, it appears to be a geometric pattern. But hidden within it are all 5 platonic solids, the building blocks of all physical matter. Mystics believe that this cube contains the blueprint of the universe, and when meditated upon, it realigns the soul to divine frequency. But it gets deeper. In Kabbalistic thought, Metatron stands at the top of the tree of life, representing Keter, the crown, the divine spark of creation. He is both the beginning and the end, the first man to ascend, and the last gatekeeper before reaching the divine. His name in Hebrew has no clear etymology. Some believe it derives from metator, meaning guide or measurer. Others link it to the Greek Metathronos, the one who is beyond the throne. But here's the hidden truth. Many mystics say Metatron is not just an angel. He is the interface of God's intelligence, the voice of the ineffable, the living embodiment of the divine code. And those who meditate on his name, or his cube, may find themselves standing at the threshold of celestial knowledge, with only one question remaining. Are you ready to cross? Symbols have always been more than art. They are portals, silent carriers of power, truth, and ancient memory. But some symbols do more than speak. They vibrate, they shift energy, they alter perception. At the heart of these is one of the most powerful and misunderstood of all: Metatron's cube. This complex geometric figure contains 13 circles, connected by straight lines, forming a map of interwoven dimensions. Hidden within it are the platonic solids, the building blocks of all matter, from crystals to DNA. To mystics, it is the sacred blueprint of creation. But Metatron's cube is only the beginning. Other celestial symbols, found in Enochian texts, Kabbalistic diagrams, and ancient magical grimoires, carry deep energetic signatures. They are not mere drawings, they are encoded languages, visual prayers that bypass the conscious mind and speak directly to the soul. Take the sigils of the archangels, for example. Each one is a divine circuit, said to attract the presence of that angel into our realm. When combined with sacred names, especially from the Enochian or Hebrew systems, they become tools of immense transformation. Another example is the Tree of Life, central to Kabbalah. It's not just a philosophical model, it is a symbolic map of consciousness, showing the path from the material world, Maketh, to the divine source, Keter. And then there are the seals of Solomon and angelic star wheels, believed to be keys that open celestial gates in both time and space. Why are these symbols so powerful? Because they speak a language beyond words, a mathematical, energetic resonance that mirrors the structure of the universe itself. Some traditions teach that just meditating on these symbols begins to rewire the mind and heal the spirit, aligning you with your divine purpose. They are reminders of what we forgot, relics of a time when humanity still walked with angels, still read the stars, and still heard the voice of God, not as metaphor, but as melody. And here's the revelation. These symbols were never meant to be hidden. They were meant to awaken you, to remind you that you, too, are part of the code. If this divine knowledge was so powerful, why did it vanish? Why aren't the Enochian alphabet, the 72 names of God, and Metatron's secrets taught in schools or preached in churches? The answer is as disturbing as it is enlightening. Throughout history, those in power feared what could not be controlled. A language that connects man directly to the divine bypasses priests, politics, and institutions. It threatens to awaken the soul in ways no doctrine ever could. During the Middle Ages, texts like the Book of Enoch were declared heretical. Mystics and scholars who explored sacred geometry or angelic communication were branded sorcerers, heretics, or possessed. The church burned the books. But it didn't burn the truth. Secret societies, underground orders, and hidden lineages preserved what they could, copying symbols and margins, encoding names into architecture, whispering sacred languages in underground gatherings. They feared what might happen if the masses rediscovered the true voice of creation. But here's the paradox. the more this knowledge was suppressed, the more powerful it became in silence. Because truth doesn't die. It waits. And now, in a time when humanity is searching for meaning more than ever, these secrets are resurfacing. Not through dogma, but through curiosity. Not in temples, but in hearts. And you, right now, are part of this return. Maybe the angels never stopped speaking. Maybe we were just trained to forget how to hear them. You've just journeyed through sacred names, forbidden alphabets, celestial geometry, and the voice of angels. But this was never just a story. This is a calling. The language of angels was never lost. It was buried inside you, waiting to be remembered, through dreams, through symbols, through the moments of silence when your soul stills and listens. Enoch walked with God. Metatron became the voice of the divine. And now, it's your turn to remember what they left behind. Steady the symbols. Whisper the names. Gaze upon the cube. Because the more you remember, the more the heavens respond. If this message stirred something deep inside you, don't keep it quiet. Share it. Let others awaken with you. Let the divine language echo again. And never forget. You were never disconnected. You just forgot how to hear the light.